Greetings everyone, this is National Master Jonathan Hilton, here today with another Forward Chess moment. This moment comes from the book Recognizing Your Opponent's Resources, Developing Preventive Thinking by International Master Mark Dvoretsky. We're going to do another exercise today, so I'll jump to it now. This position comes from a study, and it's White's move. White is on the cusp of victory here. He is getting ready to promote his pawn on b7. But the question is, how can White finish Black off? I'll let you pause the video now and try to figure it out for yourself. Okay, ready? I'll go ahead and uncover the solution. So in this position, if White marches forward and plays b8 queen, Black is able to sacrifice his remaining pieces and obtain stalemate. Meanwhile, we should also note that the underpromotion of promoting to a rook from the initial starting position does absolutely nothing for White. Black would play rook takes g6 with check, and the most that White could hope to obtain here with rook and bishop versus rook is a draw. So if we return to the initial position, one idea that I came up with for White was to play the move knight to e5. This has the idea of preventing the stalemate. So, for instance, if White on the next move is able to play b8 and queen his pawn, when Black goes in for the sacrifice with d1 queen, White takes the queen, Black plays rook f1 check, and so on, the queen on b8 will not control the h2 square anymore, so there will be no stalemate. Of course, the move knight to e5 is too slow. And if you look, the extension of my idea was that after rook to b6, White would play king to f2. And here, if rook takes b7, White would have bishop to f1 check, king to h2, knight to f3, king to h1, and bishop to g2 as mate. However, my idea is far too slow. If we go back, instead of the horribly inaccurate rook takes b7, Black could simply play pawn to d1. He could queen it, he could knight it, but the unfortunate result for White is that after bishop takes d1, rook takes b7, there is no bishop to f1 check anymore. So this would have been an unfortunate way for White, again, to draw the game. So if we return to the initial position, we know that b8 queen doesn't work, b8 rook doesn't work, knight to e5 doesn't work. And almost by process of elimination then, we can arrive at the very forcing move, knight to f4 check. So this at least has the advantage of forcing Black's rook to a different square after rook takes f4, which is forced. However, it still looks like White has a problem, because if he plays b8 queen, then Black once again is able to play pawn to d1 and promote it. White takes the piece, and then rook to f1, king takes f1, leads to stalemate. So after rook takes f4, what is White to do? Well, in this position, it turns out that the underpromotion works. White can play pawn to b8 and promote to a rook. Now, Black does not have the resource rook takes g6. And of course, the move rook to g4 check would just run into bishop takes g4. Then after king takes g4, White could play rook to d8, for instance, and pick up the pawn on d2. So returning to the position after b8, promote to a rook, Black is running out of ideas very fast. He can play the sacrifice as he has before, with pawn to d1 equals queen. But then after bishop takes d1, of course, rook to f1 would not lead to a stalemate, because the rook on b8 does not control the h2 square. And arriving at this position, Black has absolutely no defense to rook to b3 check. In fact, it seems that the best he can do is just give up his rook. But the resulting position here is an easy win for white because he is easily blockading the black pawn on h4. So I hope you enjoyed this forward chess moment and that it helped you to think more about your opponent's resources. And I will see you again on the next one.